Imagine, just for a second, finding out that the government isn't just hiding one type of alien in some dusty subterranean vault,
Right.
but like an entire roster of them. Like a cosmic depth chart, just neatly categorized and filed away in a Pentagon database.
It completely shifts the scale of the conversation.
Yeah,
I mean, we are no longer talking about uh, a lone flying saucer crashing in the desert somewhere.
exactly.
We're talking about a highly specific, basically bureaucratic taxonomy of non-human beings.
And that audacious claim is exactly where we're starting today. But before we get into the weeds on our stack of sources, just a quick reminder for you.
Always important.
Yeah. If you love unpacking these mind-bending topics with us, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and, hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive.
Absolutely.
Also, a very quick housekeeping update on the Martin Stevens versus OpenAI matter. I know a lot of you have been following that closely.
We've been getting tons of questions about it.
So, just to clarify the situation, it is not actually a lawsuit yet. We are currently in a voluntary quiet period.
Which Martin requested.
Right. He asked for it to pause any public information releases. He is hoping for a settlement, but as of right now, no progress or discussions are known to be underway.
Okay.
And most importantly, just to reassure everyone, his dead man switch has not activated. That means he is physically and legally safe.
Which is really good news. And it clears the deck for our mission today because we have a truly fascinating set of materials to synthesize for you.
We really do.
We are going to unpack these explosive recent claims from intelligence insiders regarding recovered alien bodies. Then we'll weigh those claims against the Department of Defense's massive 2024 historical debunking report.
The big reality check.
Exactly. And finally, we'll explore a genuinely radical academic paper from researchers at Harvard and Montana Tech.
Oh, I can't wait for that part.
It's wild. It proposes a scientific mechanism for where these beings might actually be coming from, assuming they aren't zooming in from deep space.
So let's start with the spark that ignited this recent firestorm. And I want to be clear, this is not just anonymous chatter on an obscure message board.
No, not at all.
We're looking at claims from high-level insiders, specifically Dr. Hal Puthoff, a quantum physicist and former CIA-funded Pentagon advisor,
Right.
and Dr. Eric Davis. They recently appeared on the Diary of a CEO podcast and spoke at a 2025 UAP Disclosure Fund conference, and they dropped what can only be described as a complete bombshell.
They really did.
They stated that the United States government has retrieved 4 distinct alien species from crashed crafts.
And, the level of specificity is what makes this so provocative.
Yeah.
They aren't relying on that vague terminology of, biological entities.
Yeah, the usual jargon.
Right. They actively placed these alleged beings into 4 operational buckets.
Okay, let's hear them.
You have the Greys, the Nordics, the Insectoids, and the Reptilians.
Which is, anyone who follows the phenomenon knows exactly what those 4 archetypes look like. They're basically the Mount Rushmore of pop culture aliens.
Yes, exactly.
But to hear someone with a literal Pentagon pedigree present them as an actual functioning inventory list is jarring. It sounds like a sci-fi fantasy draft.
A fantasy draft. I like that.
Right, like you've got your Greys going in the first round, the Reptilians in the second. The narrative has just escalated so fast.
It really has.
Just a few years ago, the absolute edge of the conversation was Navy radar picking up blurry tic-tac-shaped dots. And suddenly, we're talking about a full biological catalog in a government warehouse.
Well, we have to view that rapid escalation through the lens of David Grush's 2023 congressional testimony.
Oh, right. The whistleblower.
Yeah, Grush was a former Air Force intelligence officer, and he testified under oath that the U.S. was in possession of, quote, non-human biologics.
Which is a crazy thing to say to Congress.
And that they operated a multi-decade reverse engineering program. When someone with his level of clearance testifies under penalty of perjury, it establishes this sort of bureaucratic scaffolding.
It lays the groundwork.
Exactly. It makes subsequent wilder claims from people like Puthoff and Davis feel like the next logical puzzle piece falling into place for the public.
Right. It gives the fantasy draft a veneer of bureaucratic reality. But I have to say, when I look at these drops, my cynical side immediately flares up.
Sure.
Because if the government had definitively confirmed the existence of 4 separate alien species on ice, the world would literally stop.
You would think so.
Every single religious, scientific, and geopolitical institution would undergo a tectonic shift overnight. We wouldn't all just be, commuting to work and paying our taxes the next morning.
And that profound lack of physical evidence is the absolute bedrock of the skeptic backlash we are seeing right now in the sources.
Yeah, people are not just buying it implicitly.
Right. Articles from outlets like the Liberty Line and IB Times UK are highlighting a massive wave of public frustration. We live in an age of intense information saturation,
To say the least.
and a significant portion of netizens are openly categorizing these UFO file drops as carefully timed distractions.
Which completely makes sense. I mean, look at what we're dealing with right now. We have crushing inflation, intense political polarization, overseas conflicts.
That's a lot.
And right when the geopolitical heat gets turned up, suddenly a brand new, highly sensational story about mantis people drops into the news cycle.
It is convenient timing.
And crucially, if you listen closely to Puthoff's claims on that podcast, he openly admits his information is secondhand.
Right. He hasn't seen them himself.
Exactly. He hasn't had direct access to these bodies. He is relying entirely on the word of high-level people he spoke to behind closed doors.
And secondhand information is not empirical data.
Huh.
Which brings us to the Department of Defense's 2024 ARO historical report. A heavy hitter. ARO stands for the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. They were granted basically unprecedented access to classified programs to audit decades of U.S. government involvement with unidentified anomalous phenomena.
So they had the keys to the kingdom.
They did. Their mandate was to find the paper trail for these alleged reverse engineering programs.
And what did they find? Because I know this report caused a massive uproar.
They found absolutely zero empirical evidence that the U.S. government or private defense contractors have ever reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology or hidden off-world beings.
Zero. Wow.
Nothing.
But what I find so brilliant about the ARR report isn't just the flat denial, it's that they actually explain the mechanics of the rumor mill.
Yes, the how and why of it all.
Right. They mapped out how a story about a crash saucer goes from a whisper in a hallway to a sworn testimony in front of Congress without any actual physical craft existing. They call it circular reporting.
Circular reporting. It's a systemic vulnerability in intelligence gathering. ARO basically mapped the social network of these whistleblowers and found a closed loop.
An echo chamber.
Exactly. A small insular group of UFO advocates and former intelligence officers have essentially just been interviewing each other for years.
I always think of it like a digital hall of mirrors. You know, you have one guy with a flashlight standing in the middle of a mirrored room.
Right.
He shines the light, it bounces off 50 mirrors, and suddenly it looks like an entire army is standing there holding torches. But it's just the same single beam of unverified information reflecting back on itself.
That is an incredibly accurate way to visualize it. It creates the total illusion of multiple independent corroborating sources.
When it's really just the same story.
Yep. And AIA actually demonstrated how this falls apart under scientific scrutiny by testing physical evidence.
Oh, the metal fragment.
Yes. There was a famous piece of metal circulating in these networks. It was heavily touted as an artifact from an alien spacecraft because it supposedly possessed, otherworldly quality.
All right.
So AIR acquired it and subjected it to metallurgical analysis at a leading national laboratory.
Now, how do they actually prove it's not alien? I assume they aren't just flipping it over to see if it says made in Andromeda on the back.
Well, they look at the isotopic signature. Every element in the universe comes in different variations called isotopes. And this depends on the number of neutrons. The ratio of these isotopes is highly distinct depending on where the material formed.
So Earth has a specific recipe.
Exactly. Earth-mined metals have a very specific known isotopic ratio. If a metal was forged in another solar system, its isotopic ratio would look fundamentally alien to our baseline.
And when they tested the artifact?
The isotopic signature perfectly matched ordinary terrestrial magnesium alloy.
Oh.
It was likely just a piece of an old earthly aerospace test platform.
So basically, a piece of earthly junk gets trapped in the Hall of Mirrors. It bounces around a few dozen intelligence officers who inherently distrust the government anyway.
Right.
And by the time it hits a major podcast, it's being sold as a piece of an interstellar hyperdrive.
That's the danger of circular reporting.
The ARO report makes a really compelling case that combining historically low public trust in institutions with the echo chambers of modern pop culture creates the perfect breeding ground for these myths.
It does. But, and this is a big but,
Mm-hmm.
we have to be careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater here.
How so?
Because if we fully accept ARO's conclusion that the government has zero extraterrestrial technology and it's all just a sociocultural echo chamber, we are still left with a massive glaring paradox.
The pilots.
The pilots. Highly trained, thoroughly vetted military aviators like Ryan Graves and David Fravor are encountering actual physical objects in our airspace.
And they have the data to back it up.
Exactly. We have corroborating FLIR thermal video and multi-sensor radar data showing crafts maneuvering in ways that completely defy our current understanding of aerodynamics and propulsion.
Stuff that shouldn't be possible.
Right. They don't have flight control surfaces, they don't produce exhaust plumes, and they pull G-forces that would literally turn a human pilot into soup.
Right. So we are caught between two realities here. The government genuinely doesn't have alien tech locked in a vault, but these physics-defying crafts are undeniably real.
It's a huge contradiction.
The only way to square that circle is to completely reframe our assumptions about where they're coming from. If they aren't visiting from deep space, then what are we actually looking at?
And this is where our final source steps in to offer a total paradigm shift. It is a peer-reviewed academic paper published in the journal Philosophy and Cosmology.
This is the Harvard paper.
Yes, by researchers Tim Lomas from Harvard, Brendan Case, and Michael Masters. They argue that our obsession with the extraterrestrial hypothesis has blinded us to a much more statistically probable answer.
Which is?
The cryptoterrestrial hypothesis, or CTH.
Meaning the non-human intelligence operating these crafts isn't extraterrestrial, but ultra-terrestrial. They are already here.
Yes. The hypothesis suggests that an advanced intelligence exists alongside us on this planet, basically operating in distinct stealth.
Hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. And the researchers point to a very specific set of behavioral data to support this: unidentified submerged objects, or USOs.
Right. We spend so much time looking up at the sky that we totally forget 80% of our own oceans are completely unexplored.
The paper actually cites Vladimir Azaza, a former Russian Navy officer and UAP researcher. He calculated that roughly 50% of all UFO encounters are connected to oceans, with another 15% connected to lakes.
That is a staggering majority.
It is. We have military sonar operators tracking objects moving underwater at hundreds of knots without creating a wake or cavitating the water.
Which is insane. But when you think about the physics of the ocean, it really is the ultimate cloaking device.
It mechanically functions as a shield against human observation. Water is incredibly dense, which means electromagnetic waves, like our advanced military radar, cannot penetrate deep into the ocean.
Right. Radar is completely useless underwater.
Exactly. We rely on acoustic sonar, but the ocean is full of thermoclines.
What are thermoclines?
They're layers of water at wildly different temperatures, and these temperature shifts can actually bounce sonar signals away, creating massive acoustic blind spots.
Oh, wow.
So a submarine or an advanced craft could hide in those layers completely undetected.
So if you are an advanced intelligence, hiding in the deep ocean is a tactical masterstroke. I mean, the immense pressure, the total darkness, the inability of human radar to penetrate the surface.
You don't need a cloaking device if you just park in the Mariana Trench.
Right. The paper even points to specific hotspots, doesn't it?
Yes. Places like the Popocatépetl volcano in Mexico or the Catalina Channel off the coast of California. Anomaly hunters highly suspect submerged bases might exist there.
The logistics of a deep-sea or subterranean base on Earth require significantly less energy and resources than maintaining some giant mothership in orbit or commuting across interstellar space every day.
Absolutely. But the researchers don't just stop at where they are hiding. The paper actually breaks down who these beings might be into 4 specific subcategories.
4 flavors of the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis. Okay, let's unpack these because this is where the science gets really, truly boundary pushing.
It does. So CTH1 is human cryptoterrestrials. This posits that a technologically advanced ancient human civilization existed long before our recorded history.
Like how long ago?
Way back.
Yeah.
Perhaps they faced a global cataclysm, a comet impact, or massive climatic shift, and the survivors retreated underground or deep underwater.
Yeah.
There, they continued to advance technologically, while our surface ancestors basically started over from the Stone Age.
It's essentially the Atlantis myth, but instead of drowning, they adapted and became extreme isolationists.
Precisely.
Okay, what's the second flavor?
CTH2 is hominid or theropod cryptoterrestrials. This theory suggests a completely non-human species evolved on Earth in stealth, alongside or before us.
Wait, hold on. Theropod. You mean like an intelligent industrial offshoot of dinosaurs?
Yes.
How on earth could a dinosaur industrial age happen without us finding their buried skyscrapers?
That connects to what scientists call the Silurian hypothesis. It is a very serious thought experiment in astrophysics and geology.
Really?
Yeah. The geological record is incredibly volatile. Tectonic plates subduct, glaciers literally grind rock to dust, and erosion just wipes the slate clean. If a civilization existed 50 million years ago, all physical structures would be completely destroyed by the Earth's natural churn. Scientists wouldn't look for buried buildings.
What do they look for then, if there are no ruins?
They look for chemical mechanisms, a sudden massive spike in specific carbon isotopes, indicating the widespread burning of fossil fuels, or a concentrated layer of synthetic polymers and rare earth metals in the sedimentary rock.
So the signature is chemical, not structural.
Exactly. The argument of CTH2 is that a divergent branch of hominids, or highly evolved descendants of dinosaurs, survived mass extinctions by moving into subterranean habitats, basically outsurviving the cataclysms that wiped out the surface dwellers.
It sounds wild, but I mean, given that dinosaurs ruled the Earth for roughly 165 million years, and modern humans have only been around for a few 100,000,
The math is interesting.
the timeline technically gives them plenty of runway to evolve complex intelligence.
It really does.
What about the third category?
CTH3 bridges the gap. It is the former extraterrestrial or extratempestrial theory.
Extratempestrial.
Time travelers. It suggests that aliens from another solar system, or time-traveling future humans, arrived on Earth deeply in the past. But rather than conducting a flyby observation, they set up permanent residency.
They stayed.
Right. They conceal themselves in the oceans or beneath the surface and have shared the planet with us ever since.
See, that solves a massive piece of the puzzle for me. We constantly hear reports of UAPs hovering over military installations and actively disabling our nuclear weapons.
The nuclear connection is huge.
If these beings live on Earth, they aren't acting as cosmic peacekeepers observing a lesser species. They are practicing basic self-preservation.
Exactly.
It's like having an upstairs neighbor who keeps playing with matches. You know, you're going to go up there and take the matches away before they burn the whole apartment building down.
That analogy hits the nail on the head. It is entirely about shared operational risk. Furthermore, CTH1, 2, and 3 all provide a highly logical explanation for the most criticized aspect of UAP lore.
Which is?
The humanoid alien.
Oh, right.
If we look at the put-off claims of Greys or Nordics beings with 2 arms, 2 legs, and bilateral symmetry.
The classic look.
Right. Biologists will tell you the chances of an extraterrestrial evolving on a completely different planet with different gravity and atmospheric pressure to look exactly like a human is astronomically low.
But if they originated here, they would be subject to the exact same evolutionary mechanics we are.
Exactly. Bipedalism frees up hands for advanced tool use. Binocular vision, having 2 eyes on the front of the face, is required for the depth perception necessary to hunt or build.
That makes total sense.
A centralized nervous system, near those sensory organs, naturally creates a head. If these beings share an earthly ancestry, or evolved via convergent evolution in the same terrestrial environment, it makes perfect biological sense that they would be humanoid.
That completely flips the script. It takes the humanoid alien from a trope of lazy sci-fi writing and turns it into an evolutionary necessity.
It grounds it in real biology.
But I know the academic paper has a 4th category, and it takes a hard left turn from biology into something else entirely.
It really does. CTH4 is categorized as magical cryptoterrestrials.
Magical, okay.
This theory posits that there are entities sharing this planet with us that interact with our reality through mechanisms we simply do not possess the scientific vocabulary to describe.
So to us, it appears as magic.
Yes.
We're talking about historical folklore here. Fairies, elves, nature spirits, entities that people have reported encountering for thousands of years across almost every distinct culture on the planet.
Yes. Beings that exist just outside our normal perception, occasionally intersecting with our reality in bizarre, dreamlike ways that completely defy the laws of physics.
So the premise here is that a Navy pilot seeing a glowing orb pull a 50G turn and a 12th century farmer seeing a glowing orb dancing in the woods.
Yes.
They're actually witnessing the exact same phenomenon. We just swapped out the vocabulary of elves and magic for the vocabulary of titanium and hyperdries because of our modern cultural lens.
That is the absolute core argument of CTH4. And while it sounds like pure fantasy to a strictly materialist scientist, it demands extreme epistemic humility.
We don't know what we don't know.
Exactly. The science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke famously coined Clarke's third law. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Right.
The paper challenges us to consider that our modern space-age framework might be forcing a nuts-and-bolts technological explanation onto an intelligence that operates fundamentally outside our current paradigm of reality.
That is profound.
We see a light defying gravity, and our 21st century brain demands it be a spaceship. But it might just be the local intelligence interacting with us exactly as it always has.
So, just synthesizing all of this for you, the listener. We started with claims of 4 alien species locked in a Pentagon warehouse.
The fantasy draft.
Right. Then we watched the Department of Defense deconstruct those claims by mapping the mechanics of circular reporting and isotopic metallurgy.
The skeptic's hammer.
And finally, we explored a peer-reviewed academic argument that intelligent dinosaurs or reality-bending ultra-terrestrials might be sharing the planet with us right now.
It's a massive spectrum. And the entire UAP disclosure debate really serves as the ultimate mirror for the limitations of human knowledge.
How so?
Well, whether the phenomenon is a sociological echo chamber of intelligence officers inadvertently feeding each other the same terrestrial magnesium alloy story, or an actual ancient civilization hiding beneath the thermoclines of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
It forces us to confront how little we actually know about our own reality.
And in an era where you are constantly bombarded by information overload, navigating this topic is the ultimate exercise in critical thinking.
It really is a workout for the brain.
It challenges you to hold 2 fiercely opposing ideas in your head at the exact same time. On one hand, maintaining a healthy, historically justified skepticism of official government narratives. But on the other hand, strictly demanding that extraordinary claims like a bureaucratic depth chart of reptilians and insectoids require extraordinary empirical evidence, not just secondhand podcast stories.
We cannot allow a justified distrust of authority to override the scientific method. But concurrently, as the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis illustrates, we cannot allow scientific arrogance to blind us to the mysteries that might be occupying the 80% of this planet we haven't even bothered to look at yet.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over today. Think about our relentless drive as a species to explore deep space.
We spend billions doing it.
You do. We send rovers to the dead dirt of Mars. We aim massive radio telescopes at distant galaxies, always searching outward. What if that magnificent outward obsession is actually our greatest collective blind spot?
I mean, if a highly advanced intelligence wanted to study humanity completely undetected, the absolute safest place to set up observation wouldn't be millions of miles away in the cold, exposed vacuum of space.
No. It would be right beneath our feet. Or right beneath the waves. Perfectly exploiting our arrogant assumption that we are the sole masters of this planet.
That's a humbling thought.
It really is. Before we sign off, please remember to like, subscribe, follow, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive. Because if today taught us anything, it's that we might not just be looking for a single visitor from the stars.
Right.
We might be looking for a whole roster of neighbors, and they might have been home this entire time.